Welcome to my green screen studio, which we are pretending is this magnificent sort of old school record room that I'm Graham Codrington.
I'm Carel Nolte.
And we're two good mates. We've known each other for 20 years. We're both fascinated by the future of investing. We both enjoy wine. And we just thought that we wanted to have a conversation about all of those things. And then we realized maybe a few other people would be interested in the conversation. So, Carel, I wanted to just talk about the need to invest offshore. And we know that diversification is important. And we know that one of the big diversifications is you don't want to have all your money stuck in one country. That would be true no matter which country you lived in. But I think in South Africa it's maybe particularly true. But maybe it's not quite what people think, because we know that the rand loses value over time, but that's also because we have inflation in our system. So it's not as if our country is being devalued necessarily. But you still probably want to have at least part of your investment offshore. You're the investment expert. Is that true, and will it always be true?
So short answer for me, absolutely. And whilst I'm not a financial advisor, I say to people, spread your risk around. And so I love supporting businesses and investments in South Africa, but there are brands that I respect and like in the US. So, I'm a big Amazon fan, for instance. So I want to invest in Amazon.
I hope you're not a huge fan of Jeff Bezos and his management style. You're a fan of the company and their future.
It's a good check on me, and you're right. So yes, absolutely.
Just in case you get haters on Twitter.
Exactly. And they're interesting companies. And easy equities you can do in USD. We've just launched UK and Euro stock. So I took a punt on Adidas as one of the new shares that we listed. Rolls Royce is another one. And so Australia has got a much bigger retail investment base than many other countries, and a lot of it is centered around mining. So they've got loads of companies, penny stocks that list on their exchange, and so it's really interesting to invest in these unknown companies for me. So I did research on a milk company in Australia, which is one of my favorite investments. And it's looking beyond your own borders, looking at different stories.
But in the past, this was very difficult to do, right? So there were obviously exchange controls, and then the banks make it quite difficult to go offshore. You could actually get quite a lot of exposure to international just through some of the South African stocks. Because, most of the top 20 in South Africa are all international companies.
Well, look at Naspers, as you know, just there.
Anglo-American and things like that. So you can protect yourself, but what you guys have tried to do at Easy Equities is make it easy. So you put money in rands, then you literally click of a button, you convert it to whatever foreign currency you need, and then you've got access to foreign exchanges and shares. It's
correct.
Pretty
and
easy.
And they know tax implication stuff, all of that's taken care of on the platform. And so simplistically, as a South African, you can do that for R1 million, and also how many people have got R1 million to invest. And then you can do it with 10 million rand, you need some extra permission. And I always say to people, let's not worry about that, because there are not many people that are going to do it for 10 million.
The people who've got 10 million rand can speak to you personally, and you'll sort them out.
Exactly. And they do that on the platform, and we've got those guys who invested 10 million. But any normal South African can just put in $100.
Oh, okay.
Transfer it, as you say, press the button. It's in USD, US dollars, Australian dollars, UK, and then you've got exposure overseas. So it's super simple, and then you can bring that money back into your account here, or you can put it in a different account overseas. Again, how many people have to worry about an overseas account? So most of us are just going to do this to get exposure in a different environment.
So I told you that I wanted to talk to you about something international, and also maybe something that was a little bit unusual for South Africans to be able to do, because I don't think a lot of South Africans realize how easy it can be to go international. So I asked you to bring an international unusual wine for us to share while we had this conversation. I think you've outdone yourself here. I haven't tasted this yet, but I've smelt it, and I don't know what the hell we're doing here.
So this is called Koringwyn, and it's from the Netherlands, so corn wine.
Let's hold this up.
Thanks. And I chose
insane.
this. Yeah, and I chose this for a few reasons. One is I got this as a gift from very special friends of mine, Robin, Megan, Christian, who recently got married, and I was involved in their wedding a little bit, so they gave this to me as a gift.
Now listen, I'm sorry, I've just seen it's 38% alcohol.
Yes, no, I kept it hidden from you for a little bit.
Good grief, okay. And it's personally, that is hand-signed, Carel.
So it's very, particularly if you look at, how few there are and what have you. And so I chose it for a few reasons, as I say. So one is, it's a gift, and I love the fact that wine is something that you can give as a gift.
Yes.
And for me, and I am forcing the analogy a little bit, but it's also an investment. People who know stuff have got to pay it forward, particularly in South Africa. Yeah. I love the fact that there's diversity in wine. So I mean, who would have? I never heard of this until I got it as a gift from Megan and Rob.
I'm going in, by the way. You keep talking.
Well, I'll see if I have to pick you up off the floor. And it's unique. It's special. It's different, and it is. It's a little bit like investing overseas. You can find these hidden little gems.
Yeah.
And it's handcrafted.
Can we invest in the Netherlands via Easy?
There's some Euro shares on Easy Equities,
so Euros,
and there's Shell is
so Shell would be
90% sure is on there, so there will be a few.
Okay.
Also, we've got a way on Easy Equities. If you want a particular share, you request it, and if enough people request it, we add it.
Because I've always said if I was going to stay anywhere, if I was forced to not be in South Africa, it would probably be Amsterdam. Jeez, I love Amsterdam.
Yeah, and it's interesting how many South Africans are all over the place, and I never think that's a negative. I mean, there was a recent book that you would be aware of, I'm sure, called Genius by Bruce Whitfield.
Yes,
and he features South African companies that have expanded overseas and doing interesting things overseas, and I was amazed at how many of them are in Europe and Dutch, Netherlands and what have you. But yeah, this is, for me, it's also a beautiful bottle. It's a different shape. It talks very much, you made it. 38% is significant. So
look, you have a taste. Tell me what you think. I'm not going to lie. I would put this probably more with my whiskey collection than my wine collection. I know they're calling it korenwyn, corn wine. So it's wine made from corn rather than grapes.
So I really dislike grappa and things like that. Yeah. Sorry to all my Italian friends, but it's not something that I like. So when I smelled this, I thought there is no way that I'm going to enjoy this. It reminds me too much of grappa. In tasting it, it's much better than I thought it would be. It's not got that hecticness.
Yeah.
It might be because I love the people who gave it to me. But I'm with you. This is not going to be a wine. And if I finished all of this now, we will never do any more videos together. So
I did pour you a big dram there.
So I also think, when you drink wine with mates, there is an opportune time to call it quits. And maybe with investments, there's also an opportune time that you sort of just end it and
step away.
And maybe this is the end to step away.
We'll just step away.